Human dignity is a central concept in Islam. It is rooted in its primary sources, the Quran and Sunnah. It is a concept which is universal in its scope, comprehensive and justly balanced in its nature, and practical in its application. As we see inshallah from the next slide, the presentation begins by articulating a little bit on this universal nature of the concept, and then the remaining part of the presentation would be largely an application of that alongside the 5 basic objectives of Sharia, namely safeguarding faith, life, mind, honor, and property. We end, inshallah, with a brief conclusion. On the issue of universality, by the universal nature of human dignity as a concept in Islam, we mean that it is not restricted or limited by virtue of race, color, nationality, gender, or even religion, insofar as humanity is concerned. Rather, it is a concept that embraces all human beings on the globe. To articulate a little bit on this characteristic, let's look at 4 examples of that universal nature. The first one, that the human is created by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, first of all, fi ahsani taqweem, in the best of molds. The best of mold can be looked at in 3 sub-areas. One, it is the best mold physically. This is one aspect of dignity that Allah gave to the human. As the Quran says, أَلَمْ نَجْعَلْ لَهُ عَيْنَيْن وَلِسَانًا وَشَفَتَيْن. Haven't we given the human 2 eyes, a tongue, and pair of lips? In Surah Al-Infitar, خَلَقَكَ فَسَوَّاكَ فَعَدَلَكَ. Allah created the human, created you, fashioned you, and made you in the best of molds. It is also best mold intellectually, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described His blessings on us, وَجَعَلَ لَكُمُ السَّمْعَ وَالْأَبْصَارَ وَالْأَفْئِدَةَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تَشْكُرُونَ. Allah gave you the faculties of hearing, sight, and thinking also, or understanding. Reference here apparently is made to the power of reasoning, or as Muhammad Asad calls it, conceptual thinking. That's one of the gifts of Allah. This relates to the knowledge of the names or nature of all things that Allah taught to Adam, as obvious from his dialogue with the angels in Surah Al-Baqarah. The first revelation given to the Prophet ﷺ reminds us of the honor bestowed on the human by Allah, who taught writing by the pen. Whatever the human feels or learns through conceptual thinking or writing is possible to communicate, not like other beings by barking, meowing, or braying, but by bayan. Allamahu al-bayan. Allah taught us the power of expression. Speaking of this gift that Allah gave to us, Imam Qurtubi, one of the famous commentators on the Quran, described the mind in the following terms, and allow me to quote him in Arabic first. He said that the mind is عمدة التكليف وبه يعرف الله ويفهم كلامه ويوصل إلى نعيمه وتصدق رسله فالشرع كالشمس والعقل كالعين إن كانت سليمة رأت الشمس وأدركت الأشياء. Basically, he says that the mind is the foundation of responsibility or accountability. Through it, Allah is recognized, through the mind. and known. His words are understood. His bliss is attained, and his messengers are followed. Sharia is like the sun, and the mind is like the eye. If the eye is healthy, it would be able to see the sun and be aware of things, means things around it. In addition to the human being in the best mold, physically and intellectually, another important element that he or she is in the best molds spiritually, at least insofar as the way Allah gave him or her the fitrah. The only creature about whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَنَفَخْتُ فِيهِ مِنْ رُوحِي, and breathed into him something of my spirit, is the human being. It is that divine breath in every human being which explains the natural, pure, innate knowledge of good and evil described in the Quran, وَهَدَيْنَاهُ النَّجْدَيْنِ, we guided the human the two ways, means the correct way and the wrong way. The human knows that innately.